Hey YouTube, this is Steve from Average Joe's Fantasy Football, and we are talking mock drafts again. Remember, these videos are for Dynasty startups, specifically for Superflex and of course full PPR. Now, we are not adding rookies in this one. Most people tend to do rookie drafts after a startup, especially when the NFL draft has not already occurred. Now, of course, if this is after the NFL draft, you may make some changes and put rookies in there as well. But I think a lot of people tend to do the rookie class kind of separately, just kind of see where players land and things like that. So again, Superflex, not tight end premium, but it is full PPR. Now, if you haven't watched the other videos, we talked about the 101 and the 102. This video is going to be the 103. We're going to discuss why I chose certain players, kind of the strategy to help you guys get in a really good startup. And of course, no trades are happening. This is with a computer that I'm going against. So there are going to be some odd draft picks. And of course, if you're in a startup, you're probably doing some trades just to get you in a position to have a really good win now type of team. So let's start doing it. So as you can see here, I am at the 103 spot. Most likely a quarterback is going to be taken, which is the smart thing to do when it comes to Superflex. So we're going to start the draft and see how these things play out. Now, do I expect quarterbacks? Yes. So as you can see, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts were taken, which are pretty consistent across the board when it comes to startup. I have some people do Patrick Mahomes for Hurts or Lamar Jackson, which is a little bit of a reach, but Hurts typically tends to be the 102. With that said, I'm going to go and grab Patrick Mahomes here because Patrick Mahomes is a very solid quarterback, even with the lack of receiving core that he has had, especially with the issues with Rashee Rice right now. I do expect them to still have a very successful season, whether they have a premier wide receiver or not, because Patrick Mahomes is that guy. Now, as you can see, most, I would say quarterbacks are gone. Kind of uncommon to see running backs. Now, as far as the CPU team 10, that's kind of interesting to see two running backs. I doubt that's going to happen. But if you guys are in a reverse snake when it comes to your rookie draft, this guy has a high rookie draft, so maybe get a quarterback there and you've got some premier running backs, but that's not usual. So with that said, on the turnaround, most of the quarterbacks have been taken. I've got a couple options here. I've got Kyler Murray, Fields, Prescott. Now, Fields is a little high because obviously there's uncertainty of where or when he's going to start. Right now, he's obviously with Pittsburgh. You do expect him to stay with Pittsburgh as far as the long term. We'll see how things play out. For me, I'm going to play it safe and get Kyler Murray here because Kyler Murray has the rushing ability, and I want to get my premier quarterbacks taken care of. So now I can start getting great wide receivers, running backs, and so on. Now, with that swing, look, wide receiver class is very, very deep, this rookie class. So with that said, I don't necessarily have to go wide receiver here. You could if a receiver is absolutely you got to take him. Now, for me, I'm actually going to go and grab Jonathan Taylor here because I want to get a premier running back that is going to help add a lot of points and pretty consistent. Now, of course, Taylor had been hurt, so a lot of people have kind of fallen off of him as far as where they feel he should be at. I'm still pretty high on Jonathan Taylor. I do expect a healthier season. I do expect, obviously, a healthy Anthony Richardson, which will only help JT. Now, next here, you've got Kenneth Walker as a running back. You got some receivers here. Higgins, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers. Looking at this lineup here as far as players go, I'm going to pair him up with Rashee Rice, even with the situation that's going on. I don't expect a long-term suspension. We'll see. Obviously, once the whole legality situation goes, this will be a different type of draft. But right now, I'm going to pair up Rashee Rice with Patrick Mahomes. And on the other side, I'm going to grab another young receiver in Zay Flowers because I'm really high on him. I was high on him last season. He looked really good with Lamar Jackson, and I think his growth is only going to get better, especially with Lamar Jackson in this offense. So I like my two young wide receivers here. Again, I can grab receivers in this rookie class because they are really good. So tight ends are gone pretty fast. Most of the premier tight ends are gone. Pitts, Kelsey, McBride, Laporta. So it's a little bit tougher here. I could get an aging George Kittle if I'm trying to win now, which isn't a bad move. For me, I actually like David Njoku a little bit better. He's a little bit younger. I would say talent-wise, I think they're very close. George Kittle obviously is a great run blocker, and he does have some amazing games. But I'm going to take Njoku here, even with the added weapons in Jerry Jeudy to the Cleveland Browns. So I've got a tight end. I have one running back and then my receivers. So now I'm kind of filling out the rest of this. Flex plays, things like that. I'm going to go into the consistent in Mike Evans. I know he's a little bit aging, so most people in the startup world probably typically take him later, but I like Mike Evans here to add as a nice little flex play with my 2 young receivers because I'm not going to be upset with Mike Evans retiring in 2 or 3 years. Most likely 3. We'll see how that plays out, but he's Mr. Consistent 1,000-yard receiver. I'm going to take him every single time. Now, looking at what I've got, I still need a running back where I can grab Brian Robinson here. I do like Brian Robinson a lot. He's done really well for Washington Commanders. I could get maybe an older Aaron Jones, who I think is going to be phenomenal for the Minnesota Vikings this year. Or I can still continue to grab depth and youth. For me, I'm going to grab Brian Robinson here because I like him a lot. He's a younger back still. He doesn't have Gibson, but he does have Eckler to deal with. And we'll see how this offense plays out and what they're going to use Austin Eckler for. I still think Brian Robinson has some value. Now, am I in love with him as my RB2? Not necessarily. I would rather have him as my RB3 or 4, but where I'm at right now, I'm going to have to, grab him there and possibly get a running back later in this draft. Whoever lands for, I would say, Los Angeles Chargers or the Dallas Cowboys, who will probably get plenty of touches. So I've got my essential starting lineup right now with obviously these pieces here. So now I've got to fill out the rest of the depth. Now with depth, you can obviously get, again, if you're trying to go for the win now scenario, you want to get some vets that you know are going to do well, or you can get some youth and kind of hope that and maybe in a year or 2 they're going to shine. For me, I'm going to grab Deontay Johnson because I think Deontay Johnson's going to get force-fed a lot of opportunities in this Carolina offense, even with a potential of them going after a wide receiver this class. I still think Deontay is going to get a lot of looks and a lot of opportunities to have success this season. So I like him there. Now I am going to get a third quarterback just because I want to have somebody to fill in for bye weeks, injuries, whatever it is. And I'm not going to go and get a quarterback that is a backup. I know I can get one possibly in this draft class, being the 103 of a late draft in the rookie class. So I'm not sure how high I'm going to get a quarterback there. So for me, I'm actually going to go and grab Geno Smith. I know Sam Howell went there. I know some people think Geno Smith is going to lose his job to Sam Howell. I am not on that train. I like Geno Smith, and I think Geno Smith will do well. I also like Sam Howell. I don't think he got a fair shake in Washington, but I get why they moved on with him. So I've got plenty of wide receivers and running backs. I'm actually going to grab Zamir White here. The fact that he's still here shows that the community or even the CPU do have some concerns and worries that maybe the Raiders do grab a running back in this class. But even if they grab a running back in this class, I am not worried too much about the running back class this year. So I think Zamir White is still going to get plenty of opportunities. Now, I could have gone and grabbed, I would say, Chuba Hubbard, I think is another great option. He's one of my favorites. Even Devin Singletary here that you saw, because I think Singletary will get plenty of touches, even though I think it will be more committee-based in New York, but I do like this move on grabbing Zamir White. So could I grab another backup quarterback? Sure. Maybe for teams you're trying to block, you've got some teams that only have 2 quarterbacks. Maybe a team only has 1. That's a strategy you can do in your mock draft. I'm not going to go that route. I'm going to grab another young running back in Keaton Mitchell, who's going to obviously backfill for Derrick Henry and probably still see plenty of options. And again, depending on what happens with Derrick Henry in a couple of years, Mitchell might have an opportunity. So I'm going to grab him there. Now, scoring will play a factor because you've got some players here like Shaheed, Mims, who have some great kick return, punt return abilities. So if you do give points for yards there, they have some ability to have an option to really be a good factor, maybe a flex play, wide receiver 3. I'm actually going to go and grab another tight end here. I'm going to grab Cade Otton here because I think Cade Otton has the ability to be a pretty, I would say mid to low tight end too, but a good backfill to David Njoku when I do need him. And again, being that it's not tight end premium, I'm not looking for someone who's going to fill in every single week, but I like Cade Otton there just to kind of backfill my backup tight end. Now I've got 3 more picks to play. So for me, looking at this depth here, you've got a couple players like Gus Edwards, who's going to be the starting back for the Chargers. As of right now, we'll see how things change out. You got Curtis Samuel, who's going to probably get plenty of opportunities for Buffalo Bills. In my case, I'm going to go Gus Edwards here. I think, again, he's going to have opportunities his way. Even if they draft a running back, I think he's still going to take some goal line. And because they didn't grab him, I'm going to grab Curtis Samuel as a nice little backup on my flex team. Again, someone who's going to get opportunities right now, currently. I guess you would call him the wide receiver 1 for the Buffalo Bills because of the situation with Stephon Diggs gone, Gabe Davis. You do have Khalil Shakir, who I do like, but Samuel's a nice little Swiss Army knife that is going to make some big plays. And even if they draft a wide receiver this year, he'll still have strong value. Now, my mystery relevant for this team. I'm looking at some players here. I'm going to probably grab another running back or receiver just because I'm looking at what here. And for me, Darnell Mooney is a great pick because I think he's still going to get some opportunities. Even with Rondale Moore coming to Atlanta, I always liked Darnell Mooney. I wish he had gotten more chances in Chicago, but he didn't. So that is my, I would say, a pretty good class. Well, you guys can comment obviously down below. So that is my 103 mock draft. If you guys have questions for your mock drafts or if you have questions about anything Dynasty related, hit me up in the comments down below. I'd love to help you guys out. Of course, you can critique this draft if you have any other things that you may have want to see, or if you have trade questions, again, let me know, because obviously we're about a week or so away from the NFL draft, so I'm super excited. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys follow me on X and, of course, Instagram and any other socials. Don't forget the like button, and I'll check you guys out next time.